Alright, hello everybody. Today we're going to go over the questions of the science test that we had a bit before that. Yeah, let's answer some questions and I'll explain why each option is right or wrong. Alright, can anybody tell me the answer to the first question, which is what is the main function of the circulatory system? Anyone? Yes, you can answer.
I'm pretty sure it is to transport oxygen through the waste products around the body.
All right. So yes, that is right. Now the first option to break food down to small nutrients is the digestive system, which is not the circulatory system. The third option is the skeletal system, mainly the ribs, no, the spine and the skull. And finally, this is the respiratory system, and that means that this has to be the right option, as the circulatory system transports blood, which usually has oxygen in it. There usually has oxygen towards the body. All right. Which component of the circulatory system is responsible to pump blood? Can anybody answer?
It's the heart.
Yes. It
Uh-huh.
is the heart. Now, the blood vessels, they only transport the blood. They don't actually pump the blood. They are, the lungs, they let oxygen enter your body. They are the ones that allow for oxygen to enter the body, and basically air. And the capillaries, those are to transport oxygen into blood. So basically, the heart is the component that pumps blood. Now, can anybody tell me which blood vessels carry the blood away from the heart? Away from the heart. Anyone? Can anybody tell me which?
Is it
Yeah?
the veins?
No, actually. Veins go towards the heart. Remember, it's actually arteries. The way to remember is away and arteries have the same letter, the same first letter, which is A. So if you think away, think of arteries, and if you think of towards, think of veins. That's the best way I can explain it. All right. Yeah. The capillaries, I've already explained what they've done, and the windpipe is the place where the wind travels into, no, not the wind, the air travels into the lungs. So it's the respiratory system basically, and not the circulatory system, which is what we need. Um, so the blood leaving the left side of the heart is rich in which gas? Can anybody tell me? The left side of the heart. Can anybody tell me? All right. So in a heart, you would have a left side and a right side, of course, right? So can anybody tell me what gas is the blood from the left side of the heart rich in, knowing that the left side of the heart is way bigger than the right side? Can anybody tell me? Anyone? Would anybody like to answer or have a shot? Okay. So let's do a bit of process of elimination, all right? So nitrogen and hydrogen are clearly wrong because nitrogen and hydrogen are not related as much to the circulatory system. Yes, there is some relationship, but there's not as much. And yes, we know that carbon dioxide is wrong because I said that the left side of the heart is larger than the right side. This is because the left if the left side is the side that transports oxygen has to be larger so that it can have the space to process and actually do the functions that it requires compared to the right side. And yeah, so the left side is bigger to deal with the oxygen, and yeah, it's the more important side of the heart. Now, uh, why does your heart beat faster when you exercise? Can anybody tell me? Anyone? Why does your heart pump faster when you exercise?
I think it's like to pump the more oxygen.
Yeah. Um, During exercise, you will face something known as an oxygen debt. Now, an oxygen debt is exactly what you think. You owe oxygen to your body parts, and that means your body doesn't have enough oxygen to maintain itself. Uh, this while you're in an oxygen depth, your body will instinctively force you to produce way more heartbeats and make your heart go faster to cover up for the oxygen debt. So yeah, so that is why this option is correct. Now, your muscles actually need more food during exercise, so we know that the first option is wrong. Carbon dioxide will not enter the lungs. It will only exit. And even if it does, it's a little amount that's in air. And if anything, the body cooling down would not be the correct option because in exercise, your body actually gets warmer, not cool down. All right. So, which organ system is responsible for taking oxygen and removing carbon dioxide? Does anybody want to answer? Anyone?
Is it like the respiratory system?
Yes, it is the respiratory system. Now, the circulatory system, as we've discussed, only transports oxygen, food, and waste materials. The digestive system breaks down food, and the nervous system responds to stimuli. Yeah, it responds to stimuli and lets you think. So basically, the brain. All right. So, what is the correct pathway of air when we breathe in? Can anybody tell me? What is the correct pathway of air when we breathe in? Can anybody tell me?
I'm pretty sure it's like nose and then windpipe, and then lungs and then air sacs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. Um, the nose would go to the windpipe, and then it goes to the lungs, and then it goes to the air sacs because the windpipe, as I've already said, is the place that goes into the how do you say this? The windpipe is the place that allows you to the windpipe goes into the lungs. So the air goes to the windpipe, it goes into the lungs, and it goes to the air sacs known as alveoli. So that's how it works. Yeah. So which muscle lies under the lungs and helps us breathe in and out? Can anybody tell me? Anyone? Would anybody like to answer? Um, Not really. The abdominal muscle is a muscle that is around your how should I say this? No, it's not the rib muscle. The ribs are a form of bone, and therefore you can't have a rib muscle. Yes, it's a diaphragm. Now, let me explain why all the other choices are wrong. The abdominal muscle is the muscle around your belly, okay? That is not under the lungs, so that option is wrong. The rib muscle, the ribs are a set of bones. They are not, they cannot be a muscle. And also, the ribs are generally above the lungs. Now, the heart muscle is, well, no, it's a heart. It's the heart. The heart is in the between the lungs, not under the lungs. The diaphragm is, I believe, this. Imagine these are the lungs. Sorry for the bad drawing. The diaphragm would be this thing below the lungs that will instinctively that will basically assist you to breathe more with the lungs. Anyways, yeah, so it's a diaphragm. Now, the life process in which living things produce new individuals of the same life is called kind is called what aim I like to answer. Yes, it is reproduction, guys. Let's be a bit more talkative, please? Yeah, thank you. So yeah, reproduction is the process of replicating your own species, and the other options are wrong. Fertilization is basically something you use to speed up plant growth, not to make new individuals. It's mostly for plants and not for animals. Respiration is the process of living basically to exchange gases to get energy. Not like nutrition, but more to exchange gases to do basic functions. And circulation is, well, we already know it's something to move blood in or out. So yeah. Now, sorry. Where are the male sex cells produced in the human body? Could anybody tell me? Where are the male sex cells produced in the human body? Anyone? Anybody like to answer? Anyone? All right. So the last two options are female reproductive system, and yeah, so it is obviously not the right answer. And the penis is, well, not used to create the male sex cells because it is the part that does the sexual reproduction, not the part that creates the cells. Again, again, all of these are this time I believe all of these are actually how do I say this? All right. So the uterus is basically the womb, so it's not correct. The uterus is the part that puts the baby in. The vagina is also not the correct part either, because again, it's the thing that does the sexual reproduction. So yeah. Um, if if I'm correct, the oviduct only transports the female sex cells. It only transports the ova, and it isn't actually the part that creates the female sex cells. So it's the ovaries. The ovaries are the parts that transport the female sex cells. Anyways, what is the specific name of the place? As I already said, yeah, the uterus. As I already said, the uterus is the womb. So it is, of course, B. the bladder is we have already established the windpipe and the which is the place where air goes into the lungs, and the ovary we have already established that because the ovary is the place where the eggs are created, and the bladder is the stuff that keeps your urine. Yeah, so it's the uterus. So, could anyone tell me what's changed? Which change during puberty happens to both boys and girls? Anyone? Would anyone like to
Is it
answer?
like the voice becomes deeper?
Actually, no. That was actually a great answer, but no, actually. It's the hair. It's the hair grows in the pubic area and the underarms. Yes. This is also, I believe, this is also true. This is also true, however, as well. But yeah, the main important thing here is that hair grows in pubic areas and the underarm. The hips become much wider only happens in males, and hair grows into the face and chest happens to males only, and some females, but mostly males. So yeah. Uh, what is the monthly release of blood and tissue from the uterus lining when an egg is not fertilized? Can anybody try to answer this question? All right. So so the answer to this is menstruation. Some of you guys probably know this as probably know this as a period, and yeah. So puberty is not the answer because this process happens to everybody, including males and females, and this is specifically for females. Um, fertilization is fertilization is the process when a sperm cell and an egg cell combine. This is not when and we have already specifically stated that the egg is not fertilized, meaning this option has to be wrong. Ovulation is the creation of an egg and not and it has nothing to do with the release of blood and stuff. Anyways, so can anybody tell me the release of a disease from one to the other? What is the release of a disease? Anyone? What is called the release of the disease from one to another? Anyone? Would anyone like to answer this question? Hello? Would anybody like to answer this question? Yes.
Microorganisms.
Oh, sorry. It's the disease that's it's the first disease that can be passed from one person to another. Would anybody like to answer that question? Anyone?
I'm pretty sure it's like um infectious diseases.
All right. So yes, it is an infectious disease. As the word states, an infectious disease an infection, as we know, is usually something that's carried from one person to another. A non-infectious disease means that it's only to yourself or really hard to pass. A genetic disease comes from genes, and usually they're not infectious. And lifestyle diseases are things that are diseases that are created because of your lifestyle. They cannot be, and you cannot really pass a lifestyle from one person to another. Now, yes, microorganisms microorganisms are the things that produce infectious diseases. To be more specific, they could either be there are microorganisms contain a lot of different organisms such as fungi, viruses, bacteria, etc. Now let's explain why the other questions are not correct. A vector is a term used in genetic engineering, which is the cell that is used to create the gene, create a specific protein and such. A parasite, although it could be a cause of an infectious disease, they are things that go inside your body and go in a body and they cause harm. They will rely and usually it benefits them, but it doesn't benefit you. So it's known as parasite. So no, it is not a parasite. And cells are basically just things that live in your body, the simplest form of a living organism. Therefore, cells are also not the things that cause infectious diseases. Now, can anybody tell me what is the name for an organism that lives on or inside another living thing and causes harm to the being? Can anybody tell me? Yes.
It's a parasite.
Yes. This is a really good definition of a parasite, actually, because that's what parasites do. They will usually rely on another being to survive, and most of the time they will cause harm. So you may know these parasites from a lot. You may know things like ringworms, tapeworms, fleas, etc. Those are parasites because they are tiny living organisms and they rely on you, even and they harm you. So yeah. Now, mosquitoes can spread the malaria parasite from person to person without getting sick themselves. So, can anybody tell me what does a mosquito act in this case? What does a mosquito do in this case? Yeah.
Vector.
All right. All right. So yeah. A vector in this case could be defined as something that
Pretty sure it's
transport.
a germ. I mean a virus.
All right. So mosquitoes can be interpreted as a vector here, as because the mosquito is the thing that moves this parasite. The mosquito is the transmitter. Transmitters are also known as vectors in science as well. So yeah. All right. So let's continue with the next question, shall we? All right. So all right. So blood carries oxygen and food to all parts of the body and takes away what
It's like
products?
I think it's like takes away waste products.
Yeah, it is waste products. Um, this is also a part of the circulatory system since waste is moved away from the body using the circulatory system. Now, what are the thin blood vessels with the very thin walls are known as? What are they called? Can anybody tell me?
I think it's veins.
Um, no, they're not veins. Veins are blood vessels that move blood away from the heart. So yeah, no, unfortunately, that is not the right answer. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to answer? Anyone? All right. So, as I've mentioned at the start of this class, these are known as capillaries. Okay, capillaries transport transport materials away into inside blood. So yeah. Anyways, so now, what does the post rate tell you? Can anybody tell me? Does anybody know what a post rate is? And can anybody tell me what it does? What does the post rate tell you? Anyone?
It's like it tells us how many times like our heart beats in like 1 minute.
Yes, it tells us how many times our heart beats per minute. Now, when we breathe in, air moves down the nose through the what? Anybody likes to tell me? If I
Through
am
the windpipe.
if I'm correct, there should be two answers to this question. I will take any. And yes, it is the windpipe. The windpipe, as Abby said, is the place where the air moves down and enters our lungs. Now, there's also a scientific name for the windpipe, and it's known as the
It says on
trachea.
this.
What? Did I hear something? Alright, I'll continue. But yeah, they are known, yeah. The windpipe is also known as the trachea. So yeah. Now, can anybody tell me, what does the rib cage protect? It protects the heart and the. And you like to answer? Anyone? Anyone? Would anyone like to answer? What does the rib cage protect other than just the heart? The rib cage protects two things.
Is it the lungs?
Yeah, it is the lungs. The lungs are, as if you can remember, if you touch your chest area, you can feel that that's also where you feel you breathe in. And most of the time, the place you feel you breathe in are known as the lungs. So yeah, it is the lungs. Now, the gas that we breathe out in higher amounts because it is a weight. What is this gas known as? What is the gas where we breathe out in higher amounts?
It's called carbon dioxide.
Yeah, it's carbon dioxide. Simply, like that. Alright. We know that we breathe in oxygen and then breathe out carbon dioxide. So yeah. Now, the age at which a young person's body becomes physically able to reproduce is called what? Physically able, okay? That doesn't mean legally or society able, just
Like
physically.
puberty.
Yes, around that. It's called puberty. But yeah, you're almost correct. Anyways, what does an egg cell and a sperm cell have to do for when he? Sorry, an egg cell and a sperm cell must join together for what to happen? Anyone? 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 All right. All right. So as we said, at the beginning of this class, the process is known as fertilization. Okay. All right. Usually you can spell it a Z or an S, but I'll spell it an S for this time. Anyways, once an egg is fertilized, it travels down to the oviduct to attach itself into the what? Would anyone like to answer this? Anyone? All right. This question is also a tiny bit hard. The answer is um the answer here is the uterus or the womb. Okay, the eggs go to attach itself to the wall of the uterus or the womb. Now, again, this is the amniotic fluid. I do not expect you guys to answer this question as well. So yeah. Anyways, now, can anybody tell me what germs are? Infectious diseases are caused by germs, which include bacteria and what? Would anybody like to answer this question? Anyone? Anyone like to answer this question? Anyone? Anyone? Would anyone like to answer this questions? Question. Anybody like to answer what germs could be? They are it's a really simple question. You just need to think a little bit. Anyone? Alright. So these infectious diseases are normally known or caused by viruses, okay? Um, viruses are things that go inside your body, usually go inside your cells, and they start to replicate themselves until the cell dies. Usually they want to spread as quick as possible because as quick as possible with as many people as possible because it kills really quickly. Most viruses kill a lot, and killing isn't good because the host they won't have any good host. Anyways, can anybody tell me what is the dangerous what alright. So malaria is a dangerous disease caused by microscopic what that happened that microscopic what? Can anybody tell me? What lives in the blood that causes malaria? Anyone?
Bacteria.
No, actually, not bacteria.
I mean viruses.
No, actually, not viruses. The actual correct answer here are parasites,
Germ.
actually. Parasites. It's a parasite that malaria is a parasite. Okay, it is also kind of a virus, but it's mostly a parasite. Anyways, so uh, anyways, so you should always wash your hands with soap and what to kill germs. Can anybody tell me? This is very simple. Yes.
Water.
Water.
Yeah, that's correct. You should always wash your hands with soap and water. Now,
Water.
what should food be food should be covered to prevent what from laying on it? Anyone? Anyone? What should,
Instead of like
what? Yeah.
uh,
Flies.
Yes,
like
flies.
germs.
Germs, not really. You can't really get germs. But yes, flies is correct. Now, because flies, especially oh sorry, flies are usually animals that are attracted by food, and flies are also usually not that sanitary, so they can actually transmit a lot of dangerous pathogens. Now, uh, now when a disease spreads quickly to many people in short time, it can cause an what?
Infection. I mean, a pandemic.
Yes, a pandemic is the correct term. You can also call it an outbreak. Both of those terms are correct as well. But yeah. All right. Uh, yeah. So thank you for going to today's class. I hope I'll see you next week, maybe. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, thank you guys for coming to